I'm going to show you how to use the Tier 2 data warehouse to access the student daily progress report data so we can send home uh, summaries to parents. So first thing we need to do, I'm going to start at the AISD website and I'm going to type in dwweb.aisd.net/tier 2. When you get to this, it's going to say missing authority. That's not a problem. We click here. It's just you haven't signed in yet. You're going to sign in using your AISD credentials. Once you signed in, you're going to end up on this home page. And what you're looking for as a liaison is the daily progress report summary report here. It's going to be under the report section. And you're going to go down to that. You may only have one or two options in here. I have a few more in here. Right now, this process is not very intuitive. We are working with programming to make it a little smoother, but I want to introduce you to it so we can get started on rolling out the Tier 2 system. So in the daily progress report, you're only going to have your school. I'm going to use Carter Junior High because we have some fake data set in that for the example. I want to start here. We have a date range up at the top that we can select to view how students are doing over a specific time frame. If you're wanting to see how they did in the last week as opposed to how they've done since they initially started Tier 2, that may be more relevant information to what you need. So you may need to narrow that down a little bit. And also up here you can look at keywords. So you can search for specific students by ID or name and filter those students out. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. I'm going to use today Willie Skurlock here because he has some good data in here and makes a good example of what we need to explain the system. He'll have his ID number here, his grade level, where it says metric elements. That means how many matrix items do you have at your campus. If it's ready, respectful, responsible, you have 3. In this example, that's what it's using. It can be up to 5 at this point. Submissions, how many times has it been submitted? And so each time it's submitted, there's a possible number of points, and then how are the overall points they got during the submissions. They could have a total of 18 points, so 3 times 6 would give you 18. Well, they haven't got all their points, so they're sitting at 12 total points, which is a 67% since the beginning of this date range. Okay. So now I want to know how did they do on individual items. So I'll go down here and look at Willie Skurlock again. I see on matrix item 1 they've gotten 3 points. On number 2 they've gotten 5, and number 3, the third matrix, 4. So ready, respectful, responsible. This is how they're scoring on those. And over here, we'll give you a percentage of possible points versus what they got. So here, this is a 50%, a 0.5, 83%. So ready, respectful, responsible. Ready looks like this is where Willie is struggling the most. Respectful seems to be pretty good. Responsible, maybe not so much. So now I want to know for today, how did Willie do today? So I'm going to click on Willie's ID number here. And when I do that, I'll be able to see all of the scores that Willie's received during that date range. So they've got data from 3.2, 3.5, and 3.6 for the example. Well, I want to know, today is 3.5, let's say, and I want to know how do I get all of the data of just 3.5 on here and look at how they're doing on that date. Okay, so I go up here and I look at my date range, and I'm going to click on the calendar. I'm going to go to March 5th, and then over here we have to have one day ahead of where we are. So if March 5th is what I want, I need to click March 6th. This will eliminate data from any other point except for March 5th. If I wanted March 6th data, I would need to click March 7th. So always one day ahead. So once you've clicked that, you can go click on Willie a couple times. Takes 2 clicks here on Willie. I don't know why, but it's going to show me down here just the data from the 5th on Willie, and that data is what feeds all the rest of this data up here. So I know on the 5th that there were 3 submissions, so three possible elements, 3 submissions, 9 possible points, but he only got 8. So his total for the day is 89%. So if I was putting this on a parent summary, I would put 89% total for the day. I'm going to go down here. I could look at Willie's ready, respectful, and responsible. Looks like he did good on ready and respectful, but responsible is where he was struggling this day. If I want that in a percentage or a decimal in this case, we're working on shifting these to percentages. I look at this daily average, 100%, 100%, and 67% for ready, respectful, and responsible. I can then transfer that information to their daily parent summary and send that home. If I'm sitting with Willie and I say, hey Willie, let's look at your data, but he doesn't have any business in anybody else's data, I can go ahead and filter Willie. So I can put Willie up here, and then I can click filter, and then it's only going to show me Willie's data. Okay, and again I can click on his ID number a couple times. It's going to put his overall data for all this time frame and everything here, and we don't see other students' information. So if I want to sit down with Willie and share this information with him side by side and let him look at his scores, I could do that using a filter. And once you're done with that, you could clear the filter, and then I go to the next student for the day. And let's say I'm going to use, well, I don't know when their data was done, but if I wanted Frida here, I could then put Frida in the filter. Frida didn't get scored on this particular day, so for the sample data, but this is where I would look at Frida. So you could put in your date range and then go through every student that checks in and checks out with you as their liaison.